Welcome to alphacenturian. I'll be your guide. You can call me Alpha, and while I am Catholic, this is not a Catholic channel. This channel is dedicated to anti-apologetics. Here we deconstruct and analyze the messaging of apologists and polemicists of all faiths, religions, denominations, and philosophies, exposing rhetorical tricks, emotional manipulations, and fallacious propaganda along the way. Join me today as we review the James White and Trent Horn debates on Sola Scriptura and Purgatory. The first topic of the two-night event was Sola Scriptura. Trent Horn secured an easy victory that night. Horn effectively argued against Sola Scriptura, highlighting the chronological development of the Bible and the existence of the church before the formation of the canon as his proofs. This historical perspective undermined the idea of Sola Scriptura as a sole authority. The only thing that hindered Trent was the fact that he is an apologist. There were many times Trent had White on the ropes, but couldn't finish him because doing so would have increased the divide between Catholics and Protestants, thus impeding Trent's apologetic aspirations. James White's argument and approach were weakened by his tendency to veer off topic, engaging in tangents about the emergence of progressive Christianity, the recognition of LGBTQ Christians, Pope Francis, and the papacy, and legitimacy of the Deuterocanon. These diversions detracted from his defense of Sola Scriptura. White was too busy fighting other battles that had nothing to do with the topic at hand. These diatribes and tangents left him little mic time on the topic of defending or even defining his stance on Sola Scriptura, or even defining what Sola Scriptura was. The fact that he would argue against himself when he mentioned established facts only undermined the few punches White landed solidly on Trent. White's biggest weakness was not being able to state when Sola Scriptura became dogmatic for Christian belief, while admitting that it was not always so. White struggled to provide a clear date of when Sola Scriptura became dogmatic within Christian belief, exposed a vulnerability to his argument, while the chronology of the historical development of the Bible gave Horn the opening to demonstrate the inadequacy of Sola Scriptura as a guiding principle for Christian faith. To put it plainly, Sola Scriptura doesn't work because the chronological development of the Bible doesn't allow it to do so. The simple truth is that the church existed before a single book called the Bible did. The church existed before the collection of the books was settled and finalized in a single canon. And the church existed before the books of the New Testament were written. As James White cannot escape those facts and did not have a refutation for them, it means White lost this debate. The second night was the Purgatory debate. During this, James White started his critique questioning the biblical basis of purgatory, but his argument lacked coherence and relied on criticizing general Catholic theology and unrelated topics within Catholicism, rather than presenting a strong case against purgatory itself. White took the positive view, stating that purgatory was not biblical. His argument seemed to be that if Catholics believe something, it must be wrong. But then he went on to quote Catholics to prove the orthodoxy of his claim that purgatory was not orthodox. This was an odd and awkward argument. That being said, he did land solid hits against Trent's case a few times in this debate. His best call out was pointing out that you can find self-attested Protestants arguing against all types and kinds of core Christian tenets, and quoting from them that they agree with purgatory does little good, as they are seen as heretical anyway, while going the other way shows a lack of uniformity in Catholic theology. But for all the solid hits he landed, White spent most of the night fighting strawmen in the Romanist and Papist who held beliefs no Catholic would recognize as his own, as if White's goal was not to convince Catholics of their supposed error, but to scare off Protestants who were considering swimming the Tiber. Trent Horn's defense started strong, but faltered by misrepresenting the Eastern Orthodox position on purgatory, saying that Eastern Orthodox agreed with Latin Catholics on the truth of purgatory, but simply called it by a different name. This is demonstratively not true, as you can find a myriad of videos online of Orthodox priests and Eastern Orthodox apologists of good reputation refuting and denying the Catholic understanding of purgatory. Despite this misstep, Trent came out swinging as he argued effectively for purgatory as a process consistent with biblical principles. For the most part, for most of the debate, Trent had the better show of it. That is, until he got starstruck by a member of the audience. And from there, Trent never recovered his momentum for the rest of the night. Another weakness of Horn's was his reliance on apologetics and rhetoric, which hindered his ability to present a more straightforward argument for purgatory, detracting from the overall effectiveness of his presentation. The better argument that purgatory is a process, not a place, and its concept is consistent with biblical principles and can be defined using direct quotes from passages within the Bible was the better case. That being said, it is true that purgatory is not explicit in the Bible. And to say that you can conclude the truth or factualness of purgatory from the Bible alone is an overstatement at best and an outright lie at worst. I think a just the facts approach, similar to Trent's opening statement, would have carried the night. But after the question and answer cross-examination, Trent was neutered and distracted, and his answers fell back to a Catholic Answers on-air standard, a bar too low for the level of debate he was in. My overall conclusion was that Trent Horn's performance was strong, particularly in dismantling Sola Scriptura, despite some missteps, such as his reliance on apologetics, limiting his effectiveness in presenting a compelling case for purgatory. However, James White's weaknesses seemed ever present. Each time White took the podium, his tendency to engage in tangents and his apparent biases against Catholicism and LGBTQ Christians detracted from the strength of his arguments. White's personal biases and disillusionment with Catholicism hindered his ability to present a fair and coherent argument, ultimately undermining his credibility in the debate as a whole. In summary, while both debaters had their strengths and weaknesses, Trent Horn emerged as the more effective communicator and debater, particularly in his critique of Sola Scriptura. James White's arguments were marred by tangents and biases, diminishing the impact of his positions on both Sola Scriptura and purgatory. While I think Trent did a better job dismantling Sola Scriptura, I think White did a better job drawing a line in the sand between those who affirm imputed righteousness and those who affirm purgative satisfactio as being mutually exclusive stances whose supportive claims oppose the other. Please like this video, hitting the thumbs up button, subscribe by clicking the red subscribe button, and share your thoughts in the comments section below. Let me know which topics or channels you'd like me to explore next. And don't forget to check out more of my videos and share them with your friends. Until next time, peace.